Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Accession Everything Service Management podcast. I'm Daniel Gilby, joined as always by my co-host Sunil.
Hello.
And today we've got a really great guest, Laura Padilla, joining us from Freshworks. Laura is the Senior Vice President of Global Channel and Emerging Market Sales. Laura, wonderful to have you with us. Perhaps you just give us a quick intro for the audience.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me. And I can introduce myself if you'd like, give a little bit of background. So I've been with Freshworks a little bit over a year now. I've spent my career in high tech in various roles, mostly in partnerships, whether that has been an ISV, technology partnerships, or channel, as well as marketing. Tech is an ever evolving landscape, as we know in our careers, whether, I started my career in storage and hardware. Then with the advent of virtualization, that changed and, created hardware into software, more software defined type strategies and solutions. And then, moving then from that into line of business SaaS software with at Box and at Zoom and then Freshworks as well. And so it's been a really fun career. It's been awesome to engage with customers at so many different stages of their life cycle and how they're trying to solve problems, and also working with partners to be able to also build practices and to be able to address those needs for their customers, whether it be in the infrastructure stack or at the software stack as well. So it's been a great journey. Now at Freshworks for about a year and a half.
Very good. Dan, shall I, as tradition dictates, kick off with the first question?
We don't want to. Well, I thought there was going to be a little bit of preamble, Sunil, but I may have misread that. But yeah, if you want to launch in with a question for Laura, I know we've got some great questions and talking points lined up. And as is tradition, we don't want to break from that to confuse our listener base. Sunil, let's go with that first question.
Thank you. And Laura, just like to echo as well, great to have you with us. Thanks for joining. So the Freshworks channel, and perhaps this times quite nicely with your introduction to the Freshworks business, has been relaunched. And for the majority of our listeners, they will be based in the UK and Ireland market. So, perhaps, we can perhaps a little bit focus on that to start off with. But what would be really interesting to perhaps kick us off with is maybe what's changed within the Freshworks business since Dennis became CEO, and I think he joined in 2022. And what was the thinking there that has changed the overall go-to-market for Freshworks and the focus perhaps more on the channel?
Absolutely. So I'm assuming you guys all know what Freshworks does. We create software for customer experiences and employee experience. So we have two main business units. We have customer experience software and then employee experience software, which is the ITSM piece of the business. The company has just such a rich history of success. So our founder, G, started the company in his hometown in Chennai in India. And we are known to be the first company of Indian descent that actually went public on NASDAQ. It's first company ever, which is a really cool thing. Dennis came on board to really take that vision of a global brand to the next level. And so when we think about the rich history that Freshworks has in Asia and in India, and then NASDAQ at a global scale, Dennis came on board, and he also brought on a whole slew of amazing executives to really bring Freshworks to $1 billion plus and make it a global brand. And that's really what he's been focusing on. So I don't know if you saw our last earnings call, but he's been doing an amazing job of making our processes more efficient, making sure we're streamlining operations. We're focusing on the right things, such as from a product stack perspective, focusing on ITSM really to get into the mid-market and enterprise space. And what does that require from a product perspective? We have a new chief product officer, new head of engineering who came from ServiceNow, for example. So really trying to understand what it's going to take for those customers from a feature perspective, as well as just an overall solution perspective to adopt Freshworks versus some of our competitors. On the customer experience side, which is where the company started, that's really our bread and butter and our legacy, making that product even stronger. We've had great success in SMB, for example, with that product. But, we also have new leadership, product leadership and engineering leadership on that part of the product stack as well. And how do we actually move that into mid-market and above? We think there's a huge opportunity there for customers to see more around that. And then we've also been doubling down on AI, which is everywhere, as you guys know, right? If you don't have an AI story, you're kind of left out, right, at this point. And so AI has really been the area we're truly focusing on. And whether that is, maybe buying a startup or even further focusing on our current products. We just did a major release in June in London around AI. That is kind of where we're going next, is how do we make it more efficient and effective for customers to maximize their purchase of Freshworks through AI, through optimizing our product stack and making it much more feature rich. And that's on both sides of the house, both products.
So given there's been these kind of fundamental core changes, Dennis has come on board, you've been brought on board, I think post Dennis joining, a slew of other changes in executive and senior leadership and so forth. You mentioned things like efficiency changes and gains and the like, and product investment. Given your sort of focus area then around channel, one of your focus areas around channel, what's changed for you in the time you've been with Fresh? And sort of leading on from that, then what are the objectives that you're looking to, kind of bring and deliver and to help meet all of these aspirational goals that the entire Freshworks team have?
Yeah. So with the theme and the focus on getting to $1 billion plus in global, I mean, you all know you can't do that by hiring thousands of people all over the world. It's just extremely expensive. It's not realistic, right? And so the channel and partners are a core part of how we're going to meet those objectives. And so I was brought in to redesign the channel program, the strategy, bring on the right partners. How do we focus on the different types of value that partners can provide? And so, what I've recently done is revamp the partner program. And so we were much more focused on a model of commissions, paying partners to be able to really just bring in a deal and we take care of it. What we're really looking for are partners who are going to own end-to-end the customer life cycle. And that's extremely important in emerging markets, which is why that's an area I'm also focused on. And we're going to make emerging markets partner-led. And we have made it partner-led this year, is because when you think about language, a local currency, just knowledge of the local regions, right? Partners are at the core of that. You're not going to get anybody better than that. And so we're recruiting partners who can really help embed us into those local mindsets in markets that we really care about and we think are important for our growth. And in those markets, we're going 100% partner-led. I mean, every deal we've done with a partner. And we invested heavily in the new partner program, in enablement, in training, and trying to get our partners much more educated and self-sufficient, supporting them as well. We're building a new partner support organization to support partners as well with any issues. I've revamped my partner programs team. We've built a partner success team now that if partners have questions, we can help them. We also have brand new partner marketing team that has started that we're supporting partners in being able to build their brand with Freshworks as well. And so at the core of it, why I joined Freshworks and what the company sees is that we're only going to get there with partners. So it's an amazing opportunity for partners as well to really sign up and think through how they can build a practice with the products we have today and also the ones that we're evolving into and with AI through Freshworks.
Can I'm just going to loop back to actually one of the things you said earlier around the history of the business, not exclusively, but was built, I think, quite heavily on the SMB space, the smaller end of the market. And now there is a shift to mid-market. I would argue probably big mid-market is really your target and then the enterprise space. How do you see partners fitting into that evolution?
Well, yeah, and there'll be different types of partners that we'll need, right? So an SMB partner who sells to SMB probably doesn't need the level of technical skill and support that an enterprise customer requires from a partner, right? And so we're looking for partners now. When you talk to mid-market and lower enterprise, those customers are more demanding, right? So they're going to want a partner who can give them advice and consult on their complete hardware stack, maybe do some integration work, obviously do the implementation, as well as post-sale support as well, maybe do some troubleshooting, supporting tickets, routing tickets, manage that whole environment. We also just released an MSP product. So MSPs are going to become even more important to our ecosystem as we think about partners that can support customers. Maybe that those customers don't want to own the licenses, or they want to outsource the complete support of Freshworks. We're going to enable partners to do that work as well. And so, yes, just a different type of partner and different skill set. And we are looking for all those different types. We support, obviously, SMB customers and mid-market. And so we are actively recruiting partners today who can support those different customer segments.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I guess, one of the challenges of trying to cope with, small customers through to enterprise in a direct model is that you need people in your organization who can manage that whole plethora of customer circumstances. Whereas by identifying the right partners to work in the right segments, you're able to much better manage that whole customer interaction, the end-to-end piece, as you said.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, building a partner ecosystem is it's a balance, right? And so how much do we want to have in-house versus supporting partners to do that themselves? And so like our professional services team is now heavily working with partners to do most of our professional services delivery through partners. And their role has now evolved into being more subject matter experts on and consultants to our partners, actually, on implementations and installations, and not competing at all with them, right? And so we'll see that as an evolution as well. And also our sales reps, getting into the habit of pulling partners in, right, to help them co-sell. And some of our partners close deals better than we do. I'm not joking. Like, they're just amazing at it, right? And they've spent a lot of investment in getting their people really technically competent. And so they're great. Like here in North America, we have a partner who helps us, is pretty much our whole SLED team works with them to close all the deals because of the contracts and just their knowledge of that market. And so we're going to double down on all that. And also, like I said, recruit more partners as well in specific geographies and with different capabilities that are filling the gaps of where we don't have that today.
Well, that really talks to what you sort of talked about, the emerging markets, right? You need local people because they understand the lie of the land, right? They've got the language, they've got the cultural fit and everything else. But that also stripes across, let's say you're looking to target healthcare, for instance. You wouldn't go to a partner who had an extensive amount of finance experience. You'd want somebody with that healthcare experience, right, as a partner. So what you're doing there is you're matchmaking, if you will, saying, right, this is the right partner for this organization because they have all of that intrinsic knowledge and skill set that's going to ideally marry up to what that customer or that potential customer prospect needs. That's what I'm hearing here, right? And that's what you're building. Yeah, that's
right. Absolutely. We know that, partners have spent their lives building businesses and practices, and, customers trust them. They're trusted advisors. And so we want to bring that into our ecosystem and leverage those partners. I was just at our partner summit in APAC. We did it out in this beautiful island in Vietnam. I'd never been to Vietnam. It was really, really beautiful. And the partners were just telling us all these amazing use cases and stories from customers. And we had lots of customers also, there who were expressing all the work that our partners have done for them, whether it's something creative around AI that we didn't expect, or a complex use case, or even using some of our ISV partnerships. We also have a marketplace. And so some of those ISV partnerships that have built integrations for Freshworks and have used those in conjunction with some of the implementation work they've done. So the stories are just really amazing, how creative our customers are, and also the feedback on, how much they love the products. And so those are all things that our partners are doing, that we're not able to do because they have the technical know-how, but also just know the markets and know what customers need in those specific markets.
Can I ask, Laura, so if I ask you to put yourself in the shoes of a customer, what advice, or actually, let's pretend that you're talking to a customer directly. What advice would you give that customer to make sure that they make best use of the Freshworks channel? What should they be looking for? What should they maybe be asking their direct rep to support them with in terms of introductions? How should they think about this? Because certainly in the UK and Ireland market, it has been a direct model, and this shift is now happening. So you will have customers who last year phoned somebody direct, this year maybe being encouraged to engage with the channel. So what advice would you give them?
Well, I tell them to first understand what is it, the business problem they're trying to solve internally, right? Really understand that. And then, reach out to us as to letting us know what is that problem? What are they trying to solve? And then we can help connect them with a partner that we think would make the most sense for them, right? And so, we have partners that, like I said, are super technical, some that are maybe much more on just the sales and support piece. So whether it's a simple implementation or it's a very complex one, maybe they're trying to replace an incumbent product, right? And maybe they're confused and they're saying, hey, I'm not really happy with who I have today, but I don't really know what the other options are, or I'm really scared of ripping out this current product because of the data and all maybe the integrations and customization we've done around it. How do I approach this? Working with a certified partner, can help walk them through what that is going to take and how, what an implementation process would look like, how much time it's going to take, and, make it seem real and achievable. And so I think I would talk to a customer, just understanding what is it you're trying to do. We connect you with the right experts to make you feel comfortable about what that experience and migration would look like.
That makes sense. So a bit of a flip to that question then. So with partners that you're courting, let's say, and you're looking to gain more of these organizations to be those kind of specialist leads for you, what opportunities kind of present themselves for organizations like Accession? We're a long-standing Freshworks partner, but what would you be talking to these partners about to say, these are the sorts of things you need to do to kind of maximize your opportunity working with Freshworks? What key things what are the sort of top 3 tips or top 5 tips you'd give them?
What Dan is asking, Laura, is pitch it to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Freshworks is software every company in the world needs. Okay. Like every company is talking to customers and needs to organize their employee experiences, right? So it's a simple value prop, right? So the TAM is huge. So from the opportunities from building a business that's profitable, it's there. Okay. Now, how do you actually maximize yourself as a partner is really double down and getting to know the products. I really think it's really important. The partners I see that are really successful are the ones that, have technical expertise, understand the products, understand the use cases, understand how to position it to customers in this crazy AI and everything landscape that's happening today. Customers are even more confused. I'm sure you guys hear it on a daily basis as to, what do I do today? How do I manage all these different software applications, SaaS, now there's AI, what do I do? So I would say really understand, we've built some amazing enablement and training programs now. So make sure that you're your people internally really know how to sell and position Freshworks. Now, on top of that is now the AI pieces. We are going to build an AI academy for partners as well. And so now becoming AI competent within Freshworks is also going to open up a lot of other avenues for you to be able to consult and do implementations and even add on to just the selling piece around the products, right? And so I would tell a partner that there's a huge opportunity here. The Freshworks brand also is growing quite a bit. I don't know if you guys saw the McLaren partnership that we just did, which is really cool. We just did the NASDAQ ringing the bell. We have this whole uncomplicated brand that we're building globally. And those are all important things that I'm bringing them up because, when you as a partner are selling to a customer, it helps you sell better if the customer has seen our brand, right?
Yeah,
it's very tough to sell, a brand that nobody's heard, even if the product's awesome, right? But then they go, oh, but ServiceNow, I know that product. Like I've heard of them, their CEO's famous. I've seen them everywhere. So from a branding perspective, that's something we know we also need to do is help partners be able to just sell us easier. So bottom line is become as competent as you can in Freshworks, work really closely with our AEs. That's the other piece is get to really know our sales teams since they're incented and want to work closer with partners today. Like getting to know them, especially in the emerging markets, but anywhere really, being able to get them to know you and your capabilities and skill sets and the customers that you also work with is only going to help you grow your business as well, because then you can really collaborate as to what that all looks like.
So know
the product, know the team, really focus in. There's a lot, and AI is coming. I mean, I think we made it 5 minutes into this podcast without AI being mentioned, which is probably a record for us lately. But
right.
that's key. All right. Well, that's good. That's good to know. So all of you potential partners out there, take heed.
Well, I just make a comment on that, which is that one of the things that Accession, as Dan said, has been a Freshworks partner for a number of years now. But one of the things that I would definitely say I have really taken note of and seen is an amplification of the Freshworks brand. So the McLaren partnership, as you said, is one thing, but actually I have noticed you guys stand up and be much more visible in events, in some of the sponsorship opportunities, for example, that have surrounded those events, and have been much more present, whether it's at a senior leadership level with yourself, Laura, and your exec team, or at a more local level, much more present on social media, on LinkedIn, those sorts of channels as well. So it definitely feels like there is a building momentum here in terms of the brand. And I completely agree with you that it is maybe not always easier to sell the capability because somebody knows the brand, but certainly you're much more likely to get your foot in through the front door, to have the opportunity to talk to a customer if you come with a recognized brand in partnership with you. So I completely agree with that. So what about the future? Tell us, so we've got customers excited, right? Because there's a great product and a real focus on who the right audience is and developments there. We've got partners excited. So where are we going in the future? I think you mentioned $1 billion or something like that. What else is
there? So the company is, now towards 800 million in ARR. And so we're working towards $1 billion. That's the goal. That's the next milestone. We're obviously going to go much further than that. We don't want to stop there, but that is where we're really focused. And, continuing to build our global brand, continuing to build our product. Like I said, we have a new chief product officer here, new engineering. We just hired an AI team as well. And so really doubling down on making the products even more delightful for customers than they are today. It's a competitive space too. I mean, we're very aware of that, right? It's a competitive space. It's getting even more competitive with AI. So we know that we have to innovate faster. and make sure that our partners are also well trained and enabled to do that. And, like I said, we are all enveloping around our partners. So whether that's professional services, sales, customer success, enablement, marketing, every team now internally is building support for partners. Right. And so that's another thing, Daniel, I would say from talking to a partner is just get to know your internal partners within Freshworks, because, whether it's in, like I said, customer success or marketing or anything else, we're doubling down, like it is, 100% focusing on growth through partners. And so, it's this really positive experience. Now I have to say, like, I've worked in the channel now for so many years. And the one thing that I think really sticks out here as Freshworks is that, people are really partner friendly here. Like they want to work with partners, and that hasn't been at some other organizations I've been at that have been extremely direct, right? Here we want to embrace partners, and it's at the core of every conversation, whether it's at the board, executive level. There's a lot of focus and honestly pressure on me to make this really grow and be successful. So it's an exciting time to be a partner, and also to be on the channel team here is really fun because of it.
Yeah, one of the things I would say, you mentioned ServiceNow earlier on. So ServiceNow have built, their success off that collaboration with partners. They have always had partners in the room. And that's evidence, I guess, isn't it, that the approach that you're taking is the right approach, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they approached it much more from the services capability, which we're also doing services, but we also want partners to help us sell, and that's one thing that's also sticking out here is, we moved to a resell model from the commission model I talked about earlier. And so we want partners to really own that customer experience on their paper, being able to own the product piece as well as then customize that and do the post-sales support implementations and services and everything else, which is going to make it much more rich for partners to make more money, on selling Freshworks as well. I know that's an area that some of our competitors don't allow partners to do that, which is why I was passionate around making this move, because especially international partners, they like to own that paper and that experience with the customers.
Yeah, and it works for customers, right? And that's fundamental to this, right? Is that works for customers. I've been always on the partner side of things. I've never worked for a software vendor, but all through my career, I have spoken to customers and have said, I want to introduce you to your new software vendor account manager. And that conversation happens way too much.
Yeah.
But luckily, right, the customer has had a consistent person to talk to in me or somebody in my team, right. As a consistent thread throughout that change. And so that's a much better experience for the customer than having a new, person contact them every 12 months, 18 months or whatever and say, hey, I want to learn all about you.
Yeah.
That's
again.
Yeah. And especially if you're doing the services too, like they want a complete end-to-end experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Keep it simple, keep it good. Laura, that has been very, very insightful. I think we've covered a lot of ground there, and I can really see the inertia you guys are building up as partners expand and the product evolution continues apace. You'll be hitting that billion and beyond before you know it. So I'm very pleased to have you take some time out to speak with us today and share some insights. Thank you so much. To all our listeners, if you'd like to find out more, please do reach out, and I'm sure we can field any questions you have. All right. Thanks for listening and stay tuned.
Having me has been really fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.